and I'm administrative support specialist here at the Chamber. I'm excited to walk you through our dedicated FIFA-ready webpage hosted on the Seattle Southside Chamber of Commerce website. This page is more than just a source of information. It's a platform designed to bring our community together and help us make the most of this incredible opportunity. So here, let's take a quick look at what you can find on our FIFA dedicated web page on our Seattle Southside Chamber of Commerce website. I decided to split it in 3 ways for you. It would be news and announcements section, which is over here. Here you can find match schedules, FIFA ready webinar schedules and their recordings, and also social media links and some other important information that can be interesting for businesses as well as individuals. The second would be business resources, which includes a FIFA toolkit. And also we have some interesting sections here. Become a FIFA ready business. You can sign up here. It will take you to the survey where a business can put the information about the business, the name, the street address, email. And after they submit this survey, we would be able to see the information and we would be able to post it on our FIFA ready business section over here, which would help them to gain more visibility and attention within the FIFA event. And the last would be upcoming events. You can check our chamber hosted events here on the bottom of the web page, along with our chamber's partners. So yeah, this is a short introduction of our FIFA webpage, and now let's take a closer look on our FIFA toolkit. So this toolkit is designed to help businesses get FIFA ready by covering 4 key areas. It would be business permits, public safety, food safety, and public viewing and streaming guidelines. To give you a better idea, let me walk you through an example. Let's take, for example, City of SeaTac, which will take us to another document over here. All right. So in this section, permits for businesses, you will find details on the types of permits required to operate in SeaTac, along with any associated fees. These may vary depending on whether your business is located in city of SeaTac or outside of the city. For businesses planning to operate temporarily, I included a direct link to the temporary event permit. One important thing here is the right-of-way permit, which is linked over here. It is necessary if you're planning to use public streets or sidewalks, something that might apply during special events or outdoor setups. The next section would be public safety. I created a handy table that lists emergency contacts for all of the 5 cities. This includes local police and fire departments, non-emergency numbers, and key city officials. And the next section is food safety requirements. Just like in the section with the business permits, I've included a link that takes you directly to the page with all details, regulations, and guidance on how to apply for a food permit in the city of SeaTac. One important thing to highlight here is the blanket permit. This type of permit covers all vendors at a single event, and the host is charged by the hour, which is useful for organizers managing multiple food vendors. Regarding the public streaming during the FIFA event, I included some general information on the regulations for Canada, Mexico, and USA, along with a link to the source. Please note that this is preliminary information, as we are still waiting for more detailed guidance from FIFA. Please note that we are still finalizing some key details with our city partners. In the meantime, for any questions related to the cities of Burin and Tequila during the FIFA event, please feel free to contact them directly using the email that is provided in the toolkit. I'm sure they would be happy to assist you with any inquiries you would have. Please also know that our toolkit is continuously being updated. So if you notice any missing information or have any suggestions, please let us know and we will be happy to make the necessary updates. That is it from me. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, please ask.
Wonderful, Lilia. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to be handing it over to our partners at Explore Seattle Southside, Mark and Cydney.
Wonderful. Thanks, Adam, and thanks, Lilia. It's nice to have all of the contact information concentrated in one spot in that toolkit. So thank you for doing that. And I know that's a work in progress and more information will be coming. So one of the things that we've been saying in the last couple of webinars we've had about this is patience is a virtue, because FIFA is slowly in dribs and drabs giving us information, and we're starting to get more of it. So one of the things that Cydney's going to walk us through today is some updated information regarding viewing parties. And we don't have all of the information, but we're beginning to get some of it. So we'll be able to share that with you. And I've also got a little bit of economic impact information. So I'm going to turn it over to Cydney, and then I'll pop back in a slide or two into the presentation. So Cydney, I'm actually seeing two slides. I'm seeing the main slide and then the next slide. You might want to go into more of the presentation mode that will make your slide bigger on the screen.
That was the presentation mode, so interesting that
So maybe
made some updates on us on this one, because
maybe slideshow from the beginning.
Sorry everyone, we will go slideshow, play from the beginning. My screen looks the exact same as what I just was on. Does it look any different for you?
Try share screen so we can see it also. And if we're going to go presentation mode with the two, that's fine.
All right. Well, Zoom, share.
Yeah, and then from beginning. There you go. Fabulous.
All right, thank you, everyone. We are 274 days out from FIFA 2026 beginning in Seattle. We're just going to go over, like Mark said, a great intro, a little bit deeper dive, the numbers that we're expecting. I'm going to share the draw announcement. We'll go over the playbook and viewing party guidelines. There's a little bit more information on some funding, and then some of the fun stuff from an individual perspective of volunteering and tickets. So this is where Mark is going to jump back in and just share with you some numbers about the overall impact of FIFA.
Thanks, Cydney. So initially, the media reports had come out and saying that there would be 750,000 people visiting Seattle for basically the 22 days of World Cup. There's been some clarification on that. We're not going to be seeing 750,000 people coming into the Seattle area, but they're now saying there will be 750,000 people that will have an interest in the World Cup. So this changes dramatically. When we began to look at 750,000 people, we physically would not have room for them in our hotels because June, July is the peak season. So it was a bit of a head scratcher of how are we going to manage and house 750,000 people. So it now makes more sense that we're not looking at that dramatic increase in people coming to the Puget Sound region. I've got, when we move on to the next slide, I'll have a little more clarity from a Deloitte program or a study that we did. So Deloitte just released a study commissioned by Airbnb, and they're now saying that there will be 145,000 World Cup tourists that are going to visit the Seattle area during FIFA. So that will be an average of about 4,800 people a day, and 168,000 World Cup related lodging room nights. So most of those 145,000 people are going to be sharing a room, either 2 or 3 or 4 to a room, and they will be here for multiple nights. And so when Deloitte did its math, they came back with 168,000 World Cup related lodging room nights, or an average of about 5,600 a day. So just to give a perspective, that's approximately 13% of the available hotel rooms in King County. And this past June of 2025, King County ran an average of 81% occupancy, or roughly about 35,000 occupied rooms a day. So if we this year had 35,000 occupied rooms a day, we're probably going to have somewhere between 40 and 41,000 occupied rooms next year, which is great from a revenue standpoint, and it's great for a great piece of business, but it's not that overwhelming. Oh my goodness, where are we going to find housing for 750,000 people during this program? Cydney, if you could go back one slide. We've got 2 forecasts. So tourism economics, which is a major, it's a part of Oxford Economics. It does major economic studies. They've looked at the Seattle region, and primarily in the Seattle Central Business District. And they're forecasting basically flat occupancy next year for June and July. 0.6% increase in occupancy in June and flat occupancy in July. Where the increase from FIFA is going to come is it's going to come in average rate. So we're going to see a significant increase in average rate in June and a nice bump in July, which is then going to yield what we call RevPAR, or revenue per available room, almost a 22% lift in June and an 8% lift in July. So great revenue numbers, but it's coming out of rate, it's not, and length of stay, it's not really coming out of increased occupancy. The other major economic forecaster is CoStar. And for a lot of us in the hotel industry, that used to be called STAR, the STR Smith Travel Research Report. So STAR is a little more aggressive. They're saying we're going to have about a 4% lift in occupancy in June and July. Not quite as strong a lift in ADR, but again, a very strong lift in revenue at 16% in June and a 9% lift in July. So we can I can help answer questions that you may have when we get to the end of this program. But for our cities and some of our partners, it's good to know that we're going to have a lot of interest in FIFA, but we're not going to be overwhelmed. We're not going to have tens of thousands of people on our sidewalks in Tukwila and SeaTac. It just doesn't appear that that's what the forecasting is going to be. So we can talk more about this when we get to Q&A. Back to you, Cydney, for your next slide.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, so the big announcement since the last time we had a webinar was that they announced on December 5th, we will find out who is coming to play in Seattle. So more waiting and seeing, but we at least have a date of when we can expect to find out the teams that will be in our city. And this is exciting. The president announced it. It will be in Washington, D.C. We do not have a time of that, but it's called the Draw. And so it'll basically be people drawing names out of, a bucket, essentially, to place teams in different groupings in different cities. We will know who's coming to Seattle and all of the cities, but we won't know who will be based at the Long Acres Sounders training facility as a base camp. I don't believe we'll find that out until Q1 of 26. So that's another patience moment. We'll have the grouping of teams that are coming to Seattle, but we won't know who is going to be staying just across the city border in Renton until Q1 of next year. And this is just another opportunity potentially for some sort of, unofficial viewing parties. The Draw can be a pretty big deal. And if it's something that you want to broadcast, that is definitely, I think, different businesses will be capitalizing on that. So the viewing party playbook, it's in partnership with the Seattle Local Organizing Committee, which is the Seattle FWC 2026, and the Seattle Sports Commission. They have created this playbook, which I'm happy to share this PowerPoint so that you guys can all have the links clickable after this presentation. But the playbook dives deep into all of the details about how to throw a viewing party during the actual matches. It's different than the Club Cup as well, very different. So it's worth reading and diving into. It will be broadcast on Fox and Telemundo. So if you have access to those channels, you will be able to access streaming of the games from a personal level to a business level. If your bars, at your restaurants, you will be able to showcase these events happening. And you can see that there are 3 types of viewing events that FIFA has defined in categories, and we'll dive deeper on the next slide here. So a commercial public viewing party is a viewing event that charges a direct or indirect fee, whether that's through ticket sales or admission fees and or sponsorships and commercial rights. So it's generating revenue in some way, whether a sponsor has made it possible to host a free event, you're still receiving funds and some sort of revenue to be able to host a free public event. So if there's any exchange of dollars, basically that makes it commercial. It makes sense. And so you will need to apply for a license via FIFA for that. Second category is a non-commercial public viewing event. These are events that can take place in commercial establishments, restaurants, bars, pubs, clubs, and they have no additional commercial activities tied to them. So it's entirely free. You have no ticket sales, no admission. You're not receiving any sponsorship dollars or anything like that to be able to host this public viewing event. The third category is a special non-commercial public viewing event. And that's basically for any event that exceeds 1,000 spectators. So they're capping it. If you want to grow past 1,000 spectators, a license will be required to host. So whether you're charging, like if it's a free event and you're not collecting any sponsorship dollars, once you've hit that 1,000-person spectator or visitor, it kicks over into needing a license required. So that's something to consider. And I'm going to dive a little bit into the application portal. Right now I have it highlighted in this white box. You'll see what the application portal, it's linked there as well, looks like. Currently it's not open for submissions yet. So you will soon be able to apply for a public viewing license. So I have this tab saved on my desktop. I check it as of this morning. I checked it and it still is giving this message. So it's just something that we have to keep eyes on and apply to as soon as they release it. And we will share that information as soon as we notice that it has opened as well. To apply, you need to have a couple different details. They all make sense. There's nothing crazy. Your proposed venue, the anticipated crowd size, what matches you want to showcase, timing, and whether or not you're involving any corporate sponsorships, because they want to collect that information of whether or not you'll be free or licensed. And then interesting with this, if you do qualify for a license to charge admission fee or collect sponsorships or greater than that 1,000 spectator limit, if you're awarded a FIFA license, you will have the ability to use that FIFA World Cup 26 TM trademark. They have put contingencies on this as well. So if you are a brewery, a single branded sports retail store, restaurants, or airports, no matter what, if you have to pay for a license, you're not allowed to use that trademarked FIFA World Cup. And I believe that has to do with just some of FIFA's greater partnerships with other brands. So If you need help distinguishing what you fall under, please reach out. But basically, the license will be valid for all competition matches, and we do not know what the pricing will be yet. So we know a little bit more about how it'll all work and that we need to apply for, based off of criteria, we'll have to apply. We just don't know what that pricing will be, and that should be released in the next quarter. And they did include an email that you can reach out to with individual questions on this public viewing that goes directly to FIFA as well, and that's included there. All right, so just a little bit about the kind of planning of a viewing party. As Lilia put together that great resources for the city permits that you may need to host different viewing parties, please make sure that you're not only getting, if you need the license through FIFA, you're also following up with all those other types of licensing that is necessary as well. Something that was exciting was that the Seattle Chamber has actually received some funding for a grant for viewing parties specifically. That is linked there. And then another interesting tidbit of information that I found was that the state has actually approved a new bill that allows for expanded alcohol services. That's started in July of this year and it will extend until the end of 2027. So if alcohol is something that you're interested in serving at your viewing party, basically this new law kind of allows for businesses to be able to share those outdoor spaces and areas and kind of create more of a beer garden feel. And it overlaps with businesses that wouldn't normally have an alcohol license as well. So it's just opened it up so that more businesses can participate in serving alcohol alongside the viewing party. So that's something to pay attention to and making sure that you're following along with all the signage and the proper markings for that as well. And then lastly, I put on here just that careful marketing aspect. Of course, we want to talk about the fact that you are having a viewing party, but we need to do it in a way that's not going to have FIFA coming and knocking down your door. This was an example of something that happened over the Club World Cup this summer. Notice they didn't use FIFA or World Cup, they just used soccer, and they kind of turned it into their own viewing party flyer. And this next slide kind of drills down again. This is similar to what we saw in the World Cup playbook for 25. Again, soccer watch party, the big game. We cannot use that official TM unless we have paid for it and fall under the strict FIFA guidelines. Funding. We have all of the host cities have gone towards to the federal level of advocating for some more funding for hosting the games. I saw a stat that on average it takes about 150 million per city to host these events, and that depends on how many games that you have. So you can see that 625 million for all 11 host cities is not quite going to cover all the expenses it takes to host such a large global event. So cities are having to rely and go to the state for funding. Washington State has approved 46.6 million additional. And then they're also having to fundraise privately through corporate sponsorships and detailed this out a little bit here. A lot of that funding from the state is unfortunately just going to, or fortunately, going to updates on infrastructure of Lumen Field, the turf to grass field conversion. They're making sure that everything is up to code for FIFA's standards. That's also going to include some improvement on the parking and the infrastructure that will live past FIFA that we can all benefit from when we go to Seahawks games and Sounders games in the future. And some of that is, a lot of it is also going to go towards the transportation that will take, the infrastructure it will take for visitors to be able to access our cities all the way from the airport to the stadium district and beyond. It will basically help increase public transportation, the frequency of regular routes, water taxis and temporary shuttles, even making things cleaner, more wayfinding, safety. They even want to allocate some of that money into the traffic operations and maintenance of Washington State ferries. And I did also mention, again, under funding here, I have that the Seattle Chamber of Commerce has a grant portal that is also linked for help there. Okay, so this is just, I'll breeze through this, but this is basically volunteering if you're interested on an individual basis and participating in the games some way. They have opened the volunteer portal. You can see that there are some requirements, and you need to be available for a minimum of 8 shifts between the dates of the Seattle games. So it is quite a bit commitment. I've seen the portal. It takes a little bit of time to fill out. You will have to go through training and tryouts, as they've said, to become an official volunteer, but you get a really cool kit that you get to wear, and you just get to say that you've taken part in the world's largest sporting event through supporting it. So if you are interested, I encourage you to follow that link here to sign up and volunteer. I heard at a conference last week that I don't know the Seattle stats. I wasn't able to get an answer on it yet, but Miami had over 30,000 volunteers already apply to help support the games in their city. I think Dallas had 17,000 and Kansas City had 12. So it's a really sought after, interesting thing to be able to participate in. And of course, not everyone is going to be selected. And lastly, we have some information on the tickets. It's exciting that FIFA has announced that ticket price is going to start at $60, which feels very affordable if you can get your hands on them. Tomorrow is the big day. It starts tomorrow, where you must register your interest, create a FIFA account today, and then log back in tomorrow to apply for a pre-sale draw. So essentially, you're setting yourself up to have an opportunity to win tickets. It's a lottery-based system, and there are some specific dates that will follow and things that you can. There's more rounds of tickets coming, but the first announcement of the being able to purchase tickets will come on October 1st, which you will notice is before the official announcement of what teams are going to which cities, which happens on December 5th, as was mentioned. So when you buy tickets this first round, if you're able to, you will just be buying based off of what city you want to go to watch. You will not be able to purchase based off of team yet. There are some ticket limitations. You can see here that was a graphic provided by FIFA on the different rounds of releasing of tickets, but you can get 4 tickets per match and up to 10 matches. So that's 40 tickets in an account, and you can purchase multiple matches in one transaction. So if it's something that you're interested in partaking in, I recommend going on to fifa.com/tickets to register your interest and create your account so that you're ready to go tomorrow. Okay, that concludes the update. I feel like I rushed through that, but I do see that there were some highlights happening in the chat, so I will take a peek at those. But please join us for the next webinar on December 9th. Where we will be able to talk about what teams are coming to Seattle and any other future updates that we have with any other logistical and operational information.